Irredeemable villains often get misunderstood. They're seen as flat, evil for the sake of being evil.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
But describing them this way isn't correct. In fact, what makes them fascinating isn't really about the character at all. It comes from something else entirely. So today I'll show you 3 famous examples. Each one proves how awesome and thought-provoking a truly evil villain can be, and the one big thing they all have in common.
The Emperor's coming here?
That is correct, Commander. And he is most displeased with your apparent lack of progress.
The very mention of Emperor Palpatine is enough to make anyone's blood run cold. In the Star Wars universe, he isn't just another villain, he is the embodiment of evil. What makes Palpatine such a masterfully written character is how deeply his influence is woven into the very fabric of the galaxy. And I think we can understand this best from 2 perspectives. First, let's look at how his presence shapes the story. Even off-screen, his shadow defines everything in Star Wars. The concept of the dark side, the Empire itself, of control manipulation, the suffocating promise of order, all of it flows directly from him. That's why, despite having so little screen time in the original trilogy, Palpatine feels hauntingly familiar, like he's always been there.
Welcome, young Skywalker. I have been expecting you.
On a symbolic level, this evil figure isn't just a dark side user. He's a mirror of humanity's ugliest traits: selfishness, cruelty, jealousy, and a hunger for domination. And that's one of the most underrated achievements of the Force as a storytelling device. It gave audiences a fresh way to understand morality, not just as an action, but as a living, breathing force.
You have paid the price for your lack of vision.
But if we only look at Palpatine as this one-dimensional evil, his actual motivations become hard to pin down. Why does he want more and more power, and what's the endgame? Well, that's the point. Just like the other 2 examples I will get to soon, villains like him are meant to feel larger than life, almost inhuman. And that brings us to the second reason why he works so well: the way he poisons everyone around him.
Take your weapon. Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
Well, the conflict between good and evil is the basic conflict. The universal question is, am I a good person?
George Lucas wanted Star Wars to wrestle with moral questions, and Palpatine is the ultimate trigger for that conflict. He doesn't just tempt Luke or Anakin, he provokes us, the audience, making us reflect on our own choices, our own weaknesses, and our own desires.
Do it.
Even the Empire as a machine is full of people clawing for power, willing to betray allies at the first chance to advance themselves. You see it everywhere, from the constant backstabbing among Imperial officers to the fear that keeps them obedient, to the way failure is punished with death rather than forgiveness. Palpatine doesn't just rule with an iron fist, he designs a system where cruelty is rewarded and compassion is seen as a weakness.
Say it. Say the word.
Death Star.
And what's fascinating is how this philosophy spread like a plague. It infected the Senate, seduced the so-called Chosen One, and even cracked the foundation of the Jedi Order. Palpatine's influence nearly swallowed Luke whole, and that's what makes this irredeemable character so scary. He isn't just a character, he's an idea so powerful it consumed an entire galaxy.
We all have good and evil in us because we have the selfish side of us and we have the compassionate side of us. The idea is, how do you keep those things in balance?
I will return to Palpatine later in the video, but for now let's shift our focus to Middle-earth. Sauron in The Lord of the Rings is portrayed as a mythological force rather than a distinct person. Where Palpatine channels human ambition and corruption in a way that feels disturbingly real, Sauron is different. He doesn't persuade through words or politics. Instead, he exerts his will like a weight pressing down on the world, controlling others and driving entire armies without ever needing to show his face. This makes him feel unavoidable and absolute.
If you don't believe in absolute evil, why did you create the Dark Lord, who seems to be the apotheosis of it?
But he said in the book that he himself was not evil to begin with.
Ah, he fell. Like Lucifer.
Sauron, the enemy of the free peoples of Middle-earth, was defeated.
Tolkien designed the Lord of the Rings universe around this villain. His link to the One Ring isn't just clever, it's the driving force that makes the story so tense and dangerous. It creates constant challenges for the characters, and I'll show you a few great examples of that soon. But first, let's dive into this mysterious and demanding nature of Sauron.
It is a strange fate that we should suffer so much fear and doubt. So small a thing.
In my eyes, the ring is essentially an extension of his character. It's evil in its purest form, not through battle or destruction, but through what it does to people. This little object divides friends, magnifies greed, and strips away what makes you human. And here's the paradox. If you try to use the ring against Sauron, you don't actually defeat him. Instead, you become like him. That's the trap at the heart of Tolkien's story. The very weapon that promises victory is the same one that guarantees corruption, leaving nearly every character who comes near it in danger of falling to the same darkness.
Destroy it! No.
Just like Gollum is the physical tragic proof of how the ring slowly breaks you down while giving you a twisted kind of happiness, Sauron represents the more abstract, theoretical side of that corruption, and that's exactly why his portrayal in the Rings of Power feels so off.
You know who I am.
Who you really are.
Trying to humanize such an irredeemable evil is frankly storytelling suicide. It completely misses the point of why Sauron exists. We're not supposed to understand him, or relate to him, or sympathize with him. Tolkien himself only created a single illustration of this character, because that's all that was needed. His purpose is to remain an untouchable mystery, a force of superstition and fear. What matters is not who he is, but how his influence spreads and reshapes the world. So now we've explored two very mythic, beyond reach visions of evil, and maybe you've already picked up on the big common theme here that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. But to really drive the point home, let's look at a third example. He still lives in a fictional universe, but unlike Palpatine or Sauron, he feels disturbingly down to earth, more tangible, more chaotic, and far more twisted.
Not. No, I'm not.
I just love bad guys. It's fun to say, well, why is he like that? What made him like that?
I met with Heath. He seemed to understand how this character could be extraordinarily frightening and fresh and different than anything that had been done before.
The Joker is a character we've seen in countless versions, each one adding its own spin. In this video, I'll focus mainly on Phoenix and Ledger's versions, partly because those are the ones that I know best. Diving into the Joker, it's quite different. Here the line is blurred between an irredeemable villain and a tragic figure. There are many layers to his crazy personality, from his laughing disorder, childhood trauma, and the terrible setting of this depressing city.
And the Joker, I just liked his sense of mayhem and chaos.
He has no empathy. He's a sociopath, psychotic, mass-murdering clown.
In this world, the villain gets shaped by an evil, unfair environment, whereas in the other two examples, the characters are the ones shaping the world. Something you could also say for The Dark Knight, where Ledger's Joker isn't just a product of Gotham. He is the spark that exposes its darkest flaws.
I was meant to inspire good, not madness, not death.
Nolan's Joker is the perfect example of an evil character that tries to point out humanity's worst traits. Like Palpatine and The Ring exposes the same aspects, Heath Ledger's Joker does it by constantly challenging our animal instincts. Will you abandon everyone else to survive or cling to your ideals, even if it destroys you?
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Where are they?
The iconic interrogation scene between him and the Batman is a classic case of this. It's not easy to get under Bruce Wayne's skin, but this character does it by hitting the exact pressure points he knows will break through.
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight you're gonna break your one rule.
In the end, Ledger's Joker is so compelling because he actually succeeds at everything he sets out to do. From a twisted perspective, you could almost say he's right. He exposes the selfish side of human nature, nearly gets the city to tear itself apart, and even manages to turn Harvey Dent into a monster.
That's funny. Because I don't know what's gonna happen to you either.
Which brings us back to the George Lucas quote. We all have good and evil within us, and it ultimately comes down to what we choose to do with it. The Joker thrives on forcing those choices in the open. And that's where the contrast with the Phoenix version becomes fascinating. Because in this incredible character study, we don't see a mastermind pulling the strings. We see someone molded, piece by piece, by a broken world. In this story, the true antagonist isn't a single man at all. It's the city itself. A cruel environment that shapes a lonely clown into something far darker. So now you might wonder, what is the big common theme here? Whereas other more human villains usually have some aspect that you can identify with, sympathize with, and in some cases even agree with, in these cases it's very much the other way around. Through the idea of Palpatine, the mystery of Sauron, the environment Joker is presented and using, you don't relate to them. Instead, you connect with what their actions reveal in everyone else. They pull back the curtain on human nature, showing it in the world around them, in our heroes, and ultimately in ourselves. Let me know your favorite villain in the comments below, and if you liked this video, you definitely don't want to miss this one. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.